Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Looks like we're diving into the world of trading psychology today.
Yeah, looks like it.
Someone sent us this fascinating chapter from a book all about, well, what makes traders tick?
The psychology of trading, it's really interesting stuff.
Yeah. And the premise is, well, it kind of throws out the window this idea that technical analysis is like the be-all and end-all of trading.
Right. It says that consistent success, it's all about how you think.
Exactly. It's not just about spotting the patterns, but like the mental game you play with yourself and with the market.
Totally. We'll unpack that as we go. I think it'll resonate with a lot of traders out there.
I think so too. It's going to be eye-opening, I can already tell.
So the chapter kind of takes us back in time a bit
Yeah.
to when fundamental analysis was king.
Oh yeah, back when it was all about poring over balance sheets and economic reports, right?
Exactly. Back then, technical analysis was kind of seen as, well, almost like voodoo.
But now it's everywhere. What happened?
Well, the author points out a huge flaw in relying solely on fundamentals. It ignores human behavior. You can analyze a company's financials all day long,
Right.
but if you don't factor in how traders will react to that information emotionally, you're missing a big piece of the puzzle.
Oh, that makes sense. It's like trying to predict a game just based on stats without considering like the player's mindsets.
Exactly. Or the momentum on the field, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
So where does technical analysis fit into all of this?
Well, the author has this awesome line that kind of sums it up. They say that technical analysis allows you to get into the mind of the market.
Okay, that's pretty powerful.
Right. So instead of focusing on what should happen based on numbers alone, it's about looking at what actually is happening based on how traders are behaving collectively.
So it's like deciphering a code. You're looking for patterns in behavior to figure out the market's next move.
You got it. But here's where the chapter throws us a curveball.
Oh.
Even when traders master technical analysis, they often still struggle to turn that knowledge into consistent profits.
Tell me about it. Why is that?
The chapter calls this the psychological gap.
The psychological gap.
Yeah, the gap between knowing what the market might do and actually acting on that knowledge effectively.
Okay, I'm starting to see where this is going. It's not enough to just see the patterns. You need the mental fortitude to actually act on them.
Right. So the question becomes, what separates those who consistently make money from everyone else? Is it just luck?
Right, like is there some secret formula?
Well, the author's answer is pretty bold. They say the best traders, they just think differently.
What do you mean? Like they're smarter?
Not necessarily. It's not about having more information.
No.
It's a totally different mindset. They compare successful traders to the moon as different from the average trader as the Earth is from the moon.
Wow, that's quite a comparison.
Hmm.
So we're talking about a fundamental shift in how they approach trading.
Exactly. And one of the biggest things that sets them apart, how they handle risk.
Well, yeah, trading is risky. Everyone knows that. But you're saying that successful traders aren't risk takers? How does that even work?
It might seem counterintuitive, but the author's point is that they don't shy away from risk. They accept it.
Embrace the risk.
They know any trade could lose, and they're okay with that.
That's a tough one to wrap your head around, especially when you think about the amount of money involved.
It is. The author emphasizes mental flexibility, being able to detach from the outcome of any single trade.
So it's more about being okay with whatever happens.
Yeah, they say the best traders can put on a trade without the slightest bit of hesitation or conflict, and just as freely admit it isn't working.
So it's about mastering your emotions, not trying to control the market.
Exactly. Now, let's be real. Fear is a natural response.
Especially when it comes to money. I think we all feel that.
Of course. And the author argues that this fear is the root of most trading errors.
Really? But how can being afraid of losing actually lead to more losses?
Well, think about it. When you're afraid of being wrong, your focus narrows.
Okay.
You become so fixated on avoiding losses that you miss other possibilities.
Oh, I see. It's like tunnel vision. You might miss signals or hold on to losing trades for too long because you can't admit you were wrong.
Right. And the author compares this to a physical reaction.
A physical reaction.
Like when you freeze up in fear. That same reaction can happen mentally when you're trading, leading to impulsive decisions.
So fear can literally cloud your judgment.
Exactly. And the big question is, how do we break free from this fear-based trading? The author says it's not about eliminating risk through endless analysis. They actually call this the black hole of analysis.
The black hole of analysis. What's that?
It's when you get so caught up in trying to predict the market that you end up paralyzed.
Oh, yeah, I've definitely been there.
We all have. You're constantly analyzing and second-guessing, but never pulling the trigger.
So what's the solution? If it's not about more analysis, then what is it about?
It's about shifting our mindset, our attitudes and beliefs about trading itself.
Okay, so it's deeper than just the charts and indicators. It's about addressing the underlying psychology.
Right. It's about challenging those ingrained thinking patterns that lead to fear and hesitation. It's about being open to new perspectives.
Wow. That sounds like a pretty big shift.
Yeah.
So how do we actually do that? How do we start cultivating this new way of thinking?
Well, that's a great question, and one we'll definitely dive into deeper as we continue exploring this chapter.
All right, I'm definitely ready for that. This is already giving me a lot to think about.
Me too. It's fascinating stuff.
It really is.
You know, it's pretty amazing when you think about it, how much our mindset impacts our success.
Yeah, in any field, really.
Mm-hmm.
But in trading especially, I think.
Oh, absolutely. And this chapter really drives that point home.
Yeah.
It talks about how the market is basically designed to mess with your head.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
1 minute you're feeling confident, the next you're doubting everything.
Exactly. And the author says there's a big difference between, like, spotting a trading opportunity and actually thinking like a trader.
Okay, so what's the difference?
You could be amazing at reading charts, but if you can't control your emotions, you're going to struggle.
So it's about having discipline, not letting your feelings get in the way.
Exactly. The author says the best traders, they don't just have good technical skills, they have a whole set of beliefs and attitudes that helps them stay focused, even when things get tough.
It's like having a mental toolkit.
Yeah, a toolkit specifically for dealing with the ups and downs of the market.
Well, everyone experiences losses, right? It's part of the game.
It is. But it's how you respond to those losses that separates the winners from everyone else.
Okay, so how do they respond? What's their secret?
The author says that fear of being wrong, that's a big obstacle for a lot of traders.
I could see that. But how does being afraid of being wrong actually lead to more mistakes?
Well, when you're afraid, you kind of get tunnel vision.
You can't see the bigger picture.
Right. You're so focused on avoiding losses that you might miss opportunities.
Or hold on to losing trades for way too long because you don't want to admit you're wrong.
Exactly. The author even compares it to, like, a fight or flight response.
What, like when you see a bear in the woods?
Yeah. That same kind of reaction happens in your brain when you're trading, and it can lead to some really bad decisions.
So fear really is the enemy. But how do you conquer that fear? Can you even eliminate it completely?
The author says it's not about eliminating fear.
Okay.
It's about shifting your perspective, accepting that risk is part of the game, and acting anyway.
So you don't ignore the risk, you just don't let it control you.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between recognizing the potential for loss and having the confidence to make your trades.
Earlier you mentioned something called the black hole of analysis.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Can you explain that a little more?
It's what happens when you get so stuck in your head, trying to analyze everything.
Trying to predict the market perfectly?
Yeah. You end up overthinking everything and never actually making a move.
Oh, man, I've totally been there.
We all have. But the author's point is that no matter how much analysis you do, there's always going to be some uncertainty.
Because the market is always changing.
Right. So the goal is to learn how to manage that uncertainty, not try to eliminate it completely.
It's like trying to control the weather. You can't, so you just got to learn to adapt.
Exactly. And the author says a big part of that is understanding how our beliefs affect our trading decisions.
Wait, our beliefs.
Yeah.
Like what we believe about the market.
Yeah. If you believe that trading is all about luck or that the system is rigged against you,
Okay.
then you're going to see everything through that lens, even if it's not true.
It's like seeing shapes in the clouds.
Right. You see what you expect to see.
So if you believe the market is going to crash, you're more likely to panic and sell everything, even if it's not the right move.
Exactly. So it's not just about having a positive attitude.
It's about having beliefs that are, well, realistic and helpful.
Yeah. And that means being willing to challenge those beliefs.
Like question your own assumptions.
Right. Be open to new perspectives.
Yeah.
But that's hard to do, especially if you've been trading for a while and you've developed certain habits. It's almost like you have to rewire your brain.
Yeah, it's not easy. But it sounds like it's an ongoing process.
It is. The author says it's a journey, not a destination.
So you're constantly learning and growing.
Exactly. And a big part of that growth is learning to manage your emotions.
Oh yeah, we talked about fear. What other emotions come into play?
Well, the author talks about 4 main trading fears.
Okay, let's hear them.
Fear of being wrong, fear of losing money, fear of missing out, and the fear of leaving money on the table.
Oh man, I feel all of those. Don't all traders feel those?
Probably. But the point is, These fears can really mess with your head if you let them.
How so?
Well, like we said, fear of being wrong can make you hesitate,
Right.
and fear of losing money can make you hold on to losing trades for too long.
Or sell winners too early because you're afraid of the market turning against you.
Exactly. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
So what's the solution? How do you deal with all these fears?
The author says it's not about ignoring them.
Okay.
It's about acknowledging them, understanding where they come from, and finding ways to manage them.
So it's like you can't stop the waves from coming, but you can learn to surf.
Perfect analogy. And the chapter gives some specific techniques for doing that.
Like what?
Things like setting clear trading rules, practicing mindfulness, and building a support system.
Okay, those all sound good in theory, but how do you actually put them into practice?
That's a great question, and one we'll definitely explore more in the next part of our deep dive.
All right, I'm hooked. This is really making me think about trading in a whole new way.
Me too. I think this is something every trader can benefit from, regardless of their experience level.
Welcome back. We've been talking about the psychology of trading, and I gotta say, it's really making me rethink how I approach the markets.
It's powerful stuff, isn't it? Like we were saying before the break, it's not just about having the technical skills.
Right, it's about the mental game. And this chapter, it really emphasizes that successful traders aren't necessarily fearless, they just know how to manage their fear.
Exactly. And it's not like a one-time fix,
Oh yeah, it's not like you take a pill and suddenly you're a fearless trading machine.
Right. It's an ongoing process, this whole idea of developing a trader's mindset.
It's a journey. So where do we even begin? What are some things we can do practically to start cultivating this mindset?
Well, the author gives some really solid advice. First and foremost, have clear trading rules.
Rules, like written down.
Yeah, like a plan for your trades.
Oh, okay, I get it. So you're not making decisions on the fly, you're sticking to your plan.
Exactly. It takes the emotion out of it.
It's like having a roadmap, so you don't get lost when things get crazy.
Right. You've already made the decisions ahead of time, so you're not second-guessing yourself in the heat of the moment.
That makes a lot of sense. What else does the author suggest?
Mindfulness is a big one.
Mindfulness. Isn't that like a meditation thing?
It is, but it's also about being present in the moment, noticing your thoughts and feelings without judgment.
Okay, so like being aware of when you're starting to feel fear or greed.
Exactly. And that awareness allows you to step back, detach a little bit.
So you can make a more rational decision.
Right. You're not letting your emotions control you. And lastly, the author talks about having a support system.
Oh, yeah. That's so important in any field, I think. But in trading especially, it can feel pretty lonely sometimes.
It can. And having people you can talk to, other traders or mentors, it makes a huge difference.
Someone to bounce ideas off of or just vent to when things are tough.
Yeah, just knowing you're not alone in this.
I think we've covered a lot of ground today. This whole idea of the trader's mindset, it's really eye-opening.
It is. And I think the biggest takeaway is that consistent success in trading, it's not just about the technical stuff.
It's about understanding yourself, your own psychology.
Exactly. And while it's a journey, it's a rewarding one.
Yeah. By learning to manage our emotions, we can unlock our true potential as traders.
Absolutely. So if you're listening and you're ready to take your trading to the next level,
Start by looking inward.
examine your beliefs, challenge your assumptions, and build a mindset of discipline and resilience.
Great advice. And on that note, that's a wrap for today's deep dive.
Thanks for joining us.
And happy trading, everyone.